There are now two 135mm f1.8 lenses available for the Sony E-mount, the Sony, and the Sigma Art lens. As you can see, the Sigma is noticeably bigger and it also feels quite a bit heavier. Physically, I think the Sony here wins because I love this aperture dial. Of course, you don't have to control the aperture from the lens, but you have that option. Sony also has buttons on the side, 2 of them, that you can program to do whatever you want, but I use it to activate eye detect autofocus, which is perfect for portraits. So in this comparison between the 2 lenses, physically the Sony definitely wins. I think the Sigma is so much bigger because it was designed for DSLRs, and then they basically just stuck their MC11 adapter to the back of it and made it physically permanent. Now let's talk about sharpness. I actually don't think sharpness is that big of a deal for portraits. I've never had anybody complain that their picture wasn't sharp enough, presuming it was actually in focus. In our lab test using the A7R III and Pixel Shift, we found that the Sigma was a little bit sharper, but again, either one is going to be fine for portraiture. Let's talk about bokeh, the quality of out-of-focus subjects. I found that both of them looked about the same. At least there was nothing that would make me pick one over the other. But either way, it's subjective, and honestly, bokeh is one of those things that only other photographers care about. Let's talk about contrast. This is super important if you ever shoot with backlighting. So I took the backlighting to an extreme. With our mannequin, I put a strobe in the frame. This will separate the men from the boys, right? What I found was that the Sony had significantly better contrast. It handled backlighting much better. While your scenarios might not be that extreme, backlighting is really common in different types of portraiture. I'll often put the sun behind a subject so that their face is not in full sun. Sometimes the sky is just really bright and that'll be enough to reduce the contrast. So if you are that type of photographer who's not shooting in controlled conditions, who might sometimes shoot in backlighting, the Sony might be worth the extra $600 or $700 that it costs over the Sigma. I did a test to see if the Sigma's autofocus could keep up with the Sony's. I did eye detect with version 3 on the A7R III, and it tracked it surprisingly well on both of them. While using it, I couldn't see any difference. Going back and counting the pictures, I found that the Sony had more pictures in focus. So with the Sigma, you can definitely get some in focus, but you're going to want to take some safety shots. So for day-to-day portrait work, the Sony is $650 more than the Sigma. Is it worth it? Well, if you're trying to keep your budget as low as possible, the Sigma can definitely get the job done, but the extra $650 will definitely make your professional portrait workflow a lot quicker. While clients won't notice the differences in image quality, you might notice the differences in general usability thanks to the small size and the great control ring of the Sony. If you have Sony professional services, they'll be able to handle this lens, while Sigma doesn't really have professional services per se. So you might also think about long-term support. Hope you like this review. If you have follow-up questions, ask them down below. If you have either of these lenses, I'd love to hear your real-world experience shooting in different situations. And be sure to subscribe for more camera reviews, photography tutorials, and a live show every Thursday at 5 o'clock. If you actually want to learn the art and science of photography, head to our store, northrop.photo, where you can pick up stunning digital photography, books on Lightroom and Photoshop. All those are also available on Amazon, or only at northrop.photo you can buy our art and science training kit. By the way, we also have a professional portrait training kit, which focuses on helping you earn a living with your camera gear. That training kit can help you earn more than $100,000 a year. You can definitely make $1,000, $1,500 per shoot using the techniques that we provide. If you're not happy with it, of course, there's a full money-back guarantee. Use that coupon code. Thanks. Bye.